FC Barcelona went to the Santiago Bernabeu and recorded a 1-0 victory over arch rivals Real Madrid as they take the lead into the second leg when possibly Pedri, Lewandowski and Dembele will be returning for the second leg. In this video we'll be taking a look at some of the tactics that Xavi used to overcome and also the defensive structure of FC Barcelona in particular. If you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel as we will do a lot more content in the coming weeks about Barcelona's tactical displays and everything regarding FC Barcelona. In the build-up phase, Barcelona split their centre-backs extremely wide and always Real Madrid would look to win the ball high up the pitch. We saw that Modric came onto Sergio Busquets, but at times we also saw that Vinicius and Valverde joined Benzema in the press. This is where we saw that Xavi had Alonso next to Sergio Busquets in order to be an outlet. Therefore, Barcelona would have a back four and he would be the main man to receive the ball in this region. But the back four of Barcelona was stabilized at the build-up phase for Barcelona as they would be 4 against 3. Like here you can see that Modric is onto Sergio Busquets. You also saw that Benzema was the only one really pressing up front. This is where Vini Jr. and Valverde stayed back because Barcelona had this back four now where they could easily build up. As you can see, there's nobody in front of goal. But look at the positioning of Marcos Alonso right here as he would pull all of them wide and narrow at the same time. Because of the back four, Real Madrid started to defend a lot more deep now and Frankie had to go next to Busquets in order to be an outlet. However, Ancelotti did nothing to counter this and surprisingly, he instead had Fede Valverde go onto Frank Kessié to sort of like man mark him. Surprisingly for no reason. Like in the picture over here, you can see that Barcelona is now very wide and Real Madrid has Vinicius, Modric and Fede Valverde sort of like in a 3 with Benzema up alone. So a 4-2-3-1. And surprisingly, you can see over here that Fede Valverde is on Frank Kessié while Benzema and Modric and Vinicius marking nobody. But Frenkie de Jong and Sergio Busquets now in this region is easy outlets and you can see how wide open they are. So they can pass easy passes into our double pivot. Because of this back four, Marcos Alonso played extremely wide and received the ball in these regions over here. And Real Madrid all came across and they were playing very narrow. This left Alejandro Balde open to receive a pass in this region. And many a times when he received the ball, it was up to Carvajal to make a decision to whether or not stay on Xavi or come up to defend on him. This is why Barcelona time and again got balls in behind Carvajal. But unfortunately, Xavi was a midfielder, so he would receive the ball very close to Eder Militao. And Eder Militao, unfortunately, you can see over here, Alonso having the ball, Ter Stegen wide, you have Koundé over here and Ronald Araujo in this region. Now, unfortunately, when the ball goes out, they would press Marcos Alonso. Now, you can see over here that Carvajal is now running over onto Alejandro Balde as he's now defending him in this region. And at the back you see that Xavi is now in acres of space over here in order to receive the ball. Barcelona had a 2-on-1 for the most part in the mid phase. And they also had their midfielders playing extremely narrow in order to outnumber Real Madrid. Because they couldn't really go narrow. Because that would leave the wingers open and the fullbacks and have 2-on-1 advantages. So Barcelona could really distribute the ball very easily in this region. Surprisingly, Barcelona didn't want to use this as they had only 34% of the possession. Real Madrid only had to play narrow because their centre-backs or their central midfielders or the double pivot couldn't come up high to press Barcelona, so they had to stay back. Over here you can see that Barcelona has their 3 midfielders extremely narrow. And you can see that Real Madrid also is now narrow. However, the back four of Barcelona was extremely wide and they kept this back four throughout the match. Now you can see that Barcelona now actually had the passing range into the 3 midfielders very easily as they could be outlets for Barca. Ancelotti switched to a 4-4-2 formation with Modric and Benzema to put pressure on both of Barcelona's centre-backs. They were adamant on defending narrow and cutting off the middle of the pitch. This is to force Barcelona out wide into their least threatening players to get them on the ball and actually control them. But Sergio Busquets dropped in between the centre-backs, the full-backs would went high to prevent the wingers from pressing and also the forwards would go into the half spaces. This resulted in Barcelona having some numerical advantage in key areas because even Ferran Torres also helped defending in this phase. You can see Kessié over here, Busquets and Frenkie de Jong, all their positioning spread it wide over across and you can see Benzema on front there with Modric. Over here you can see that Busquets is now dropping Frenkie de Jong and can see Frank Kessié is a little bit more higher. you can also see how high and wide our fullbacks are. And this was supposed to give Barcelona the lead and win this game comfortably. In the defensive phase, Barcelona also tried to get Kessie onto Toni Kroos. But Barcelona was clever in their press as they pressed from an angle, not like Real Madrid trying to press the ball head on. So Ferran and Xavi or Busquets would actually come from the side in order to force them into one side of the pitch. Therefore, Barcelona could now actually defend better. But Real Madrid had Carvajal extremely high, and Rafinha is now over here on the right defending to prevent the 2-on-1. Over here you can see that Ferran Torres is pressing from an angle, trying to get the ball into Rudiger. And now the players over here, you can see Kessie on Toni Kroos, but it's Camavinga in this phase. Now you can see that Carvajal, or in this case it's Nacho, who's extremely wide and narrow. But Rafinha is back there to be able to defend him, where Araujo could finish and focus on Vinicius. But Barcelona also had the ball into Carvajal, where they could actually had drawn out Alejandro Balde. But instead, Barcelona had the 4-4-2, but Kessie and Xavi or Ferran Torres would actually prevent this from Barcelona having their players pulled out of position. Rafinha even was willing to make it a back five at times in order to defend successfully. But Modric came out, and now Barcelona still had their midfielders go out. No need for Barcelona's 4 or back 5 to come across and actually defend this. And this was Barcelona's successful defending against Real Madrid. Here you can see Xavi extremely wide on Carvajal, nobody off, and you can see that Busquets is now on Modric, nobody having to come over in order to defend. You can see Rafinha now is extremely narrow in order to compensate. Toni Kroos even sometimes had to drop and fall behind, but you can see here that Frankie, in this case, actually came out to defend him in order to make the pulling game unsuccessful, and you can see Nacho also being fully covered. You can see Xavi pressing the centre backs. You can also see that all these players actually came around. And that is how Barcelona was defending successfully. At the end, Barcelona got a really great victory against Real Madrid, taking away a slim lead, although it is a lead after all, into the second leg of the Copa del Rey. Again guys, if you're new around here, please do consider subscribing. This is a wonderful channel, Barcelona fans. We do a lot of technical content regarding Barcelona, and if you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. It would help us a lot if you can subscribe. And thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye.